Select time zone.
Release KIN3TEK Initiative.
Initiate.
Time.
Welcome to the KIN3TEK Initiative. Today I am KIN3TEK. We are here to initiate 100 effort. Today we are going to create and burn to a CD with our all-new CD rewritable portable CD drive that we bought online via AliExpress. This one I liked. This one reminded me of the old school Sega Mega Drive system. Looks sort of similar and everything. You really have to check them out. You'll find them, I believe they're still available and ready to buy online. And with that being said, whenever we are to receive our reimbursed interest and indemnity, it's 18, which is the CD that we're going to be creating today. We'll most probably want to invest at some stage. So do not hesitate or reluct any further and do contact KIN3TEK direct. Now with that being said, initially you'd have to find the blank CD to write onto. And we're gonna plug in the CD drive, and once this is done, we'll begin to proceed forward to put on the music album folder, 18, the compilation, 100 origin value and unique quality track songs brought to you by the KIN3TEK Initiative that we can find, buy, and press start and press play on Bandcamp and YouTube and the remainder of those online awesome valued over 3 and golden opportunity stores and media outlets. This compilation is rather sentimental to the entire board of us ultra high net worth individuals of 18. Sort of explains the supermajority of things that have led us all through our entire adolescent childhood leading up to the 18-year-old and the entire conceptual prospectus and aspectus behind the 18-year-old generation, and how that leads us through to want to follow our dreams. It's sort of like how Princess of the Princess promo states to follow the new, which is equivalent to natural order of priority, and that equivalent being the certain respect and kind patronage that comes with doing so towards the entire public society and citizenry out there within our global economy. So we'll begin by opening up the windows, and we'll transfer these files over, and it's rather straightforward. All you do once the files have been finished transferring over is right click on the CD drive upon finding so, and you'll find burn to disk on there. And if this portable CD drive is more than compatible to do so, and eligibly so, you may just find that you'll get through things in a breeze, sort of like in this mentorship YouTube video. So, thanks for listening. Have a look through. If you want, do contact KIN3TEK direct, and we can begin to proceed from there. There are many golden opportunities we have just yet to offer. So, there we go. Take things with a grain of salt. And by all means, enjoy the music. It's what it's for. Enjoy the films, the film clips, the videos, the shorts, anything plus everything that's on offer. And by all means, fly away. The purchases are ready and available when you are.